Mr. Speaker, I'd like to recognize for 5 minutes the gentleman from Iowa, Mr. King, to talk about the No Sanctuary for Criminals Act, H.R. 3003.
I thank the gentleman from Colorado for organizing this special order and recognizing me to address him. I'd like to say at the start of this that the folks that had the special order ahead of us had not read the bill that they were expounding upon, and it'd be impossible for them to have done so. So I want to remind the body of that, Mr. Speaker, and then address the No Sanctuary Cities Act. And it is this, that we saw what happened in San Francisco. The murderer of Kate Steinle had been deported 5 times. He was a 7-time felon, 5-time deportee. He still came back, and he came to San Francisco because he knew that it's a sanctuary city. And if he got crossways with the law for whatever it might be, sleeping on the street or shoplifting or any of the additional felonies that were brought against him, they were not going to identify immigration officials. They were going to turn him back loose on the streets of San Francisco. If he was taken care of as an indigent, they would have turned him loose on the streets of San Francisco. And so Kate Steinle now lies in her grave, and her family grieves for her loss, and America felt that pain. San Francisco is a sanctuary city, and now the entire state of California has declared themselves a sanctuary state. And I think, Mr. Speaker, about the hole in the wall. Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. They had a spot in a canyon there where you had to ride through a notch to get in there, and they posted a guard there. And all the bad guys that wanted to get along with the other bad guys in the West went in that place, and if law enforcement came, then they'd line up against them and block them from coming in to enforce the law. That's essentially what we've got going on in city after city all over America, sanctuary cities, operating under the erroneous idea that because their cities are so full of illegals that if they would ever allow federal immigration enforcement officials to work and cooperate with local law enforcement, those folks might not be in America. Well, I met with some people today in the Remembrance Project. These are the families who had their family members killed by illegal aliens that are in America. And many of these illegal aliens that killed Americans and killed other illegal aliens and killed people that are here and lawfully present in America, many of them had criminal records. Many of them had been interdicted by law enforcement. But the local jurisdictions decided it wasn't politically correct to cooperate with federal law. Well, the Constitution of the United States is the supreme law of the land, and it is an enumerated power that Congress establish an immigration policy. And we do that. And we direct that those laws be enforced. The executive branch's job is to do that. And all throughout law enforcement, it has been seamless throughout all of my growing up years. I grew up in a law enforcement family. There was no separation. There was no segregation between city police and county law enforcement officers, the sheriff's department, and highway patrol and DCI and FBI. When there was a crime that was committed, everybody worked together seamlessly. And how is it that these cities, and now the state of California, have carved themselves out an exception to what has been a timeless, time-honored, established cooperation between all levels of law enforcement? So, the No Sanctuary for Cities Act, which was my bill, is now sitting on Mitch McConnell's desk with the scores of other bills that the gentleman from Colorado has addressed. And it's one that says there will be no sanctuary cities any longer, and there will be cutting off funds going to these cities until they get the message. And I think it's about time that the Justice Department moved on all of the jurisdiction that they actually have. But we need to help them here in Congress. And it's about time that this bill, along with Sarah's law and Kate's law, be moved off of Mitch McConnell's desk to the floor of the United States Senate. That's just a small piece of the broad picture we're addressing here tonight, Mr. Speaker. We need some action over in the Senate. If they'd get rid of that filibuster rule, we'd see more action than we're seeing today. I thank the gentleman for yielding some time, and I encourage him to continue this effort. I'm going to stand with you on this, Mr. Buck. Thanks for all you're doing.
Thank you. I thank the gentleman from Iowa for his thoughts.